What's going on, guys? My name is Djemini. I'm joined with my brother Salvatore Manalo right here, and we are Soul Sync. So excited to be bringing our first project out to you. Our first single, Moonlight, just dropped, and we've got the full project coming out on August 23rd. So today is just a little chance for us to have our own little podcast together and to talk about origins leading up to us working together, and then the origins of our first single that dropped, Moonlight. And so, yeah, I'll just get right into it. Sal, I'm going to ask you a little bit about your origins, and then
Let's get in it.
Yeah, man, let's dive right in.
Let's dig in.
And yeah, I'm just curious to know. I know some of the story, but it's fun to talk about it in a long form way like this. How did you get into music, and what were some of those early inspirations to? I know you started with guitar, and so what led to that, and then what led to you like really playing and writing music yourself?
It was my brother, actually. He brought home a blue Ovation guitar. You know those like weird, it has like a shell back. It was really ugly. But I was like, oh, that thing is sick. I was like, I don't know, 9 or 10. And I just like fell in love with it, and I wanted to learn for myself. And I started playing in church a little bit. My uncle had a church, and really got into like learning chords and all that good stuff. And then from there, the usual, I want to be a rock and roll star. And then I found songwriting like when I was in high school, and yeah, from there I just went to school, just fell in love with it, wanted to learn as much as I could.
Nice. And who would you say are some of the people who like inspired you? Obviously your brother, but artists that you looked up to, or people that we bonded over, like John Mayer and stuff like that. But who are some of those other influences that that really inspired the early days of rock, Sal?
The beginnings.
Yeah, and even like more recent influences and people who have inspired you to kind of have the sound that is the Salvatore Manalo sound now.
Good question. Definitely John Mayer, as you mentioned, Juan Mayor. That was later though. But at first I was super into, weirdly enough, like Led Zeppelin, like Jimmy Page. I was just like, ooh, this guy shreds, he rips. I'm gonna do that. But then like after, like I get into high school and I started listening to like the Beatles. My dad was like a huge music fan, so the Beatles, Bread, Bee Gees.
Oh, Bread, dude.
The three B's. Yeah.
Love Bread.
Bread is so good.
Wow.
Just like melodies. I love melodies, and just wanted to learn how to do that for myself. So I'd say those three, the three B's.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. Easy to remember.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna listen to some Bread. I actually have the Baby I'ma Want You vinyl.
Oh man. Oh, lucky.
I found it on the I found it in like the, I always go dig through the dollar record section, and found that, and I was like, dude, what? I love this song.
Lots of fun.
I love this whole record, but Baby I'ma Want You in particular was a song that my parents sang and put me on to a while back, and I was just like, wow, this is just great music.
It's classic.
And I think it's funny that we have that both as an influence, because I think that very organic and kind of simple sound in a group like Bread or the Beatles. Yeah. Not that we make music that sounds like them, but I think that these songs are very organic in just their nature and like musically how they came about, and probably without us knowing it up until now, that groups like that were heavily influencing, I think, our sound, and why our individual solo records are the way that they are, because of influences like that too. It's super cool to think about.
Yeah, I didn't see it that way, but I totally see that now. Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like for a lot of people that I've played our songs to, they're kind of surprised, because nowadays when somebody says, I make music and this kind of thing, like I think people have a certain perception of what it's going to be, and a lot of people, kind of like millennial Gen Zers are expecting you to like, make some like dance beat or to, some like rap thing, which there's nothing wrong with. I love that stuff too, cool. To an extent. But like when we hit them with like a bunch of very organic, real instrumentation sounding stuff, I think it's just a breath of fresh air for a lot of people.
I agree.
Or at least that's what people have told me when I've played them our stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fun to look at groups who did that in the realest way possible, and for us to emulate that a little bit is cool.
It's a real thing.
Yeah, we got that real thing. We'll get into that in episode 2.
Hey.
But I think the last question I want to ask you on kind of musical foundation stuff for you is what led to you releasing your own music, and when you've put out your first project and when you got into that, and kind of just why did you decide I'm gonna do this, and how did that all come about?
I think I started early days of college. No, that's a lie. It actually started in high school.
Nice.
MySpace.
Wow.
Yep. So before then, you could have a song on MySpace, and I remember the first song that I put out was called Influenza, and it's ridiculous, and it's like my favorite thing ever. I don't know where it is. I think my dad has a copy.
Oh, I hope so.
But yeah, it was fun. I was like, hey, I wrote this, and I thought it was cool to share something that you created. But I really got into it like towards college when I started a YouTube account and just started playing songs that I just written, sort of like testing the waters,
Nice.
I guess, so to speak. And that's it. You buy your first mic and you sort of just go in. So here we are.
From that point to when you put out your first project, like what kind of let you know that you were ready, that you were like, because the first Salvatore EP,
Yeah.
like that, talk about going from early YouTube college days stuff to putting out that record, which you made in the studio and all those things. Like,
Yeah.
what led to that? What made you feel like you were ready for that? And just other like thoughts or feelings around that.
Oh, that's really good.
That kind of that transition from there. Yeah.
I think the biggest deciding factor of like, oh, this is ready is I wanted to listen to it.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that was the main thing. I was like, oh, I would listen to this. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that was
Sweet.
to simply put it. But yeah, because I did have an EP before that's been scrubbed from the face of the earth. And I think, like I recorded like in my dorm room, and I was proud of it, but it was just, like you're starting to learn. So
Yeah. Well, I think I actually didn't know that. So a beautiful parallel in our journey, because being able to, that's how you first heard my music.
Yep.
Was these demos that I recorded in my bedroom closet that perked your ear enough up to want to work together. And then, I won't jump too far ahead into our origins yet, but that was, I think, really cool to look back at that, our journeys, and although they happened at different times in our lives, that they very much mirrored each other.
Absolutely.
And like having a drive to do it and just hoping that will open the doors to other things. And I think it did, and I think that's the reason why we worked together, because whether we knew it or not, like we could see those parallels in our lives, which is pretty cool to just look back and see how our journeys have been very similar to get to here, and why I think this record was so seamless in the way that we made it. So yeah, that's pretty much the main foundation questions I had for you. So
really peered into my soul.
Yeah, man. I know it. Even though I know some of these things, it's fun to do it in a setting like this, because it's a little bit more formal in the sense where you answer it in a way that might not be just you and I just chopping it up. So it's just fun to hear that and see like you said, peer into your soul. But go ahead.
To turn the peering
to peer back
right at you. How did you get started in music, and what inspired you?
Yeah. Man, I was musical since I was little. I think similar thing, but it wasn't. I wanted to play guitar. I think probably like you. I didn't have an older sibling, but I was just so fascinated by guitarists and people who I looked at, and I really wanted to take guitar lessons. Actually, that's what I asked my mom, and she said that no, you have to take piano lessons first. I know, brutal, but I'm glad she did that, because then I was able to learn some musical foundations Unfortunately, I didn't apply myself enough to know how to read music anymore. But
half of a stone.
yeah, I know. So if I really like sat there and like charted it out and did my little, I know what the notes are, but in terms of like sight reading, yeah.
Forget about it. Yeah,
Yeah, forget about it. So, but it allowed me to have at least enough musical knowledge to be able to understand how to play things and getting to know that instrument. And I, still play piano to a degree. And
beautifully, if I might say. Well, John Legend would agree.
Yeah, I sure hope so. Because that's a perfect reference. That John is. I have a lot of Johns that are big influences to me. John Mayer and John Legend, two guys that were huge, and then a little later, John Splitoff, being a guy that I found more in college that was very inspirational to I think that organic sound that we've come to hone in the stuff that we've worked on. But it really did start with John Legend, and I took piano lessons for a few years, stopped taking them in high school.
Yeah.
And then it was really I stopped doing music. I stopped singing. I did theater in 7th and 8th grade.
Oh, cool.
So I did I was in choir at school, and that's kind of when I first figured out that I could sing in like 6th grade. And then in 7th grade, you can join the musical at my school. And so I
what was a musical?
It was Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, good.
And so my mom really wanted me to audition, try out, and I didn't want to because I was like, I'm a basketball player. Like, I'm not going to be in theater. No. Even though a lot of my friends were going to do it. But then my mom was really pleading with me, and she was like, can you please just audition for me? And if you don't like it or you don't, get a part you want, you don't have to do it.
Okay.
Like, okay. And then something like a switch flipped in my brain. I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to go all in. I'm going to go for like a lead part.
There we go.
And so then that's when I went and did, I auditioned for Lumiere, the candle guy.
Okay.
I thought he was just very cool and suave.
He is very cool.
And so I was like, oh, I can be that. And I didn't get that role, but I did get a lead role, and I was LeFou, who is, Gaston's little sidekick dude.
Yeah.
Gosh, it disturbs me to see you, Gaston. So I did that. I did that whole song, and I had a blast. And like, I think for me, knowing that I could sing like my own song like that, and have stage presence, and that's a funny character.
Huge, yeah.
And so it was something where being able to make people laugh and be entertaining. And my school really showed. We were a small little K through 8 Catholic school, but all the parents and families and everybody showed out. So I mean, that gym was packed of like 300-400 people, I guess.
Okay.
And so I think that was the first moment where kind of glimpsing into the future when I left music behind for a few years during high school. Those moments in 7th and 8th grade doing the school play were moments where I felt like I was less nervous. I was more excited and confident going into those performances, and I felt like I'm ready to put on a show. And the rehearsal, that's what I was gonna say. The preparation and rehearsal that you put in, I think that's what really made me feel that way, and I think that's what goes into now. I mean, for the birthday show, we did a lot of rehearsals leading up to that as a band, and I think the reason why I was so tight was because of all the time we spent and how particular we all were and held each other to that standard. And that's what I felt like was the case even in the 7th and 8th grade school plays. And so yeah, those are awesome. And then in 8th grade, I actually did have the lead role. I don't know why this was like a junior high thing, but we did a high school thing. We did a High School Musical. Oh, cool. So I was actually Troy Bolton in the play.
Nice. Okay, cool.
Which is pretty cool. And I felt really cool at the time. I thought I was like the coolest person ever. In my class I think my graduating class was like 30 of us.
Oh wow.
No, that's not high. But it was like under 100. It was very small.
That's really like ours.
And and so I thought that was awesome. And I had a lot of fun. And being able to step into kind of like the leading man spotlight was something really cool for me. Anyway, then high school, left music behind to actually play basketball because I couldn't be a real life Troy Bolton.
There we go.
So I had to choose one or the other. In my mind, I probably could have done both. But then I played basketball for 2 years. at my school, and then I played rec with my friends after I quit the team because I was like, I'm not gonna make varsity.
Yeah.
But then I had fun on rec. But through that time, I was like, man, I wish that I did more, stuff in drama, and I wish that I sang more and all these things. And so that's when my senior year I started to dive in, and it was John Legend, to bring it all back, John Legend, who really inspired me to sing and play, because I never really played piano for songs that I could sing.
Yeah.
And so being able to make that switch and actually, sing along with songs that I was playing, and I just sat and watched YouTube tutorials on how to play these songs
YouTube
and sang along with it. YouTube University is how I learned everything, man.
It's real.
And yeah, then going into college, I felt really confident coming back as like a singer, and like I want to do this in college. And then I brought my parents' Siegel, the acoustic that I play all the time.
Yeah.
My parents' Siegel acoustic guitar that my dad never played to college with me, and it sat there in my dorm room for a couple months, and then finally picked it up and learned how to play before going home for Thanksgiving. Thought it would be cool to learn a couple songs for my mom. And then she was very encouraging. So then I went back and I just like really dove in and learned a bunch of songs. And then it was like what I did for hours every day through my freshman year of college, I guess the second half of that year. And from that point, I was just like, whoa, I think I could really do this. And then it was similar, how you started playing in church. I started playing in church in college. And then a lot of people very quickly were like, hey, can you play at our mass? And can you, lead this retreat? And can you play music for this event and all that? That then I quickly became known as like the guitar guy who leads music and sings and stuff very fast in college, which I was very proud of. And so coming back into my sophomore year, then it was like full steam ahead. And then junior year was when I was like, I think I'm ready to put out music. And so similarly to you, if you really want to find the early music, you can find it out there. I'll leave it up to you to discover, because it's under my government name.
The deep cuts.
Yeah, the deep cuts. And so you can find my government, and then you can find music in there. Also dorm room demos, basically. But those were...
Hey, you had me fooled.
Yeah. They were... It was something really important for me, and that was before any of the Djemini stuff, but I felt confident enough to put out music. And then COVID hit. So then it was like, okay, well, I'm not doing this, I guess, in the way that I imagined performing and stuff. So I never performed until I started everything years later, more recently. So then that's when, I graduated, broke up with the girl that I was dating throughout that whole era. And I started writing a lot of music because of that. And then naturally. And none of it felt like what I wrote under that previous artist name. And so I was like, this needs a new name. Yeah. And for all those who think that Djemini is my real name that my parents gave me, sorry to burst your bubble, it's not. But yeah, then that's how that all came about. And just finding a name that could be like a singular artist name. My name's DJ. And I took that and then was like, okay, I am a Djemini. That's why I wear the Djemini necklace all the time. My birthday's June 8th. Same birthday as a couple legends, Kanye West and Frank Lloyd Wright. Love them or hate them, they make incredible work. And brilliant. Yeah, so that's what that's how it all came about. And then one of my favorite movies is Django Unchained. So that's what led to the whole Silent D thing. And then I wrote it out on a piece of paper, like DJ, EMI, and I. And I was like, oh, I think that's it. Yeah. I sent it to Marcos, and I was like, what do you think about this? And he was like, dude, that's it. Nice. And so once I got his sign off, then I was like, okay, this is what it is. And that was May of 2022. So it's been a little over 2 years since Djemini has existed. And it felt like something I could really identify with for the music I was making and the type of person that I had evolved into musically. Yeah. And then that led us into 2023 when I was like, I really want to take this seriously. Started working on my own and kind of just writing a lot of songs by myself in my apartment. And then luckily at the very end of the year, kind of the last 3 months of the year was when I met you and when I met everybody else. And then it was like, okay, full steam ahead. That's what led us into 2024. And now we've had quite a legendary year, if I may say so myself. Yes, and you've played the most critical role in that, which I'm very grateful for. So yeah, that's kind of origins leading up to now for me.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Batman, here he is.
Hey, man. Batman begins.
Bruce
Gemini
Wayne.
begins.
Oh, that's so cool to hear, though.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Yeah, and then I guess I kind of answered all the
Yeah,
the
that was
foundation
like dang, he's
questions
like,
in,
he went through that.
in
Yeah.
one thing.
Amazing.
That's like a perfect way for us to get into the foundation questions for Soul Synced, and how we got working together. I think we can ask each other a little bit about that, and I think that I'll ask you first, like how we met to get your side of the story,
Okay,
and then I'll chime in on my side of the story.
Yeah.
So like how we met originally,
Yep.
and then how we started then working together. I guess is like the two main parts that I'm interested to hear from you.
Yeah. Oh, Matt. Our boy Matt.
Shout out to our boy Matt Brewster, baby.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, Matt had gone to a Fib fundraiser party, right?
Yeah. Well, it was the launch party.
The launch party, that's right.
Shout out to our boy Adam Stockman. Started the game Fib,
Super dope game.
I helped Adam with some of the video work.
Yep.
I did a bunch of video editing, and so I showed up at the party, and he asked if I wanted to donate like a photo video shoot for people as part of the raffle there. And then Matt was part of the raffle.
Yeah. Matt, a super good friend of mine. We play in a band. Our group is called Hiroki, and we hadn't had photos in like 2 or 3 years, pretty much basically since we started playing. So it was due time, and he had been like, "Hey, yo, I want some photos." And I was like, "Cool, let's do it." And he told me like, "Hey, this guy named DJ is going to do it." So I was super down, and I want to say it was like a couple of days, we hit each other up and got it all scheduled, and got some super cool photos in downtown Portland. And I met DJ, and we hit it off. We all became like really good friends, and like we talked about music. And you had mentioned that you were a musician too, which I didn't know. I was like, oh, cool, because I'm always like curious about people who play music, and just want to listen to their music. And I listened to your songs that were out, and I was like, oh, this guy's good. And Thanks, think I DM'd you like a couple of days later. I was like, yo, like if you want to like cut a demo or work on some songs, I'm totally down, because your stuff is super awesome. So yeah.
That's exactly how it went down.
Yeah.
it was really amazing, because like it was actually the same day of the shoot that you messaged me.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because it was like that night. I think we followed each other right after the shoot, and then you just thanked me for the shoot. And then you told me that you listened to the songs. And I was like, whoa, that's awesome. And, I was like just trying to will into existence making music and just doing it by myself. And then so because I listened to your music after that shoot as well. And I was like, whoa. I was really blown away, especially to find out that you produced all that, because you also, during the shoot, you played the demo of Try.
Oh, right.
That was another part of that shoot day, that you played the demo of Try
with Dune,
we were with Dune and Matt, and so that song is with Matt and Rain Ezra, and hearing that, and when I like asked who produced this, and you're like, oh, I did, like, at my home studio, and I was just like, and that was so trippy for me, and so being able to hear that, I was like, whoa, I think this is the guy. And I wasn't gonna like come in guns a-blazing being like, record my project, but I really at that moment I believed, I'm like, this is somebody who I could really see myself working with.
Cool.
Just based off of the sound and like your demeanor, and you vocally, I felt like we were similar in a lot of ways, and your production mirrored that of stuff that I was inspired by. So it was just something that was so cool that then after the fact, I have nothing to add to the way you said the story. That was exactly how it went. And then we went to fast forward about a month. We were both traveling a little bit. Yeah. And then we met here, and we just worked on the first on that first demo for Softly. Yep. But that really started because I came over to just kind of jam. Yeah. And we planned to write together. Yep. And during that writing session, Sal was like, where are you coming from musically? And so I was like, it would be better if I just played you a song. And so I played him Softly, and he was like, yeah, no, forget this this idea. Like, we're going to record that right now. Yep. And I was just like, whoa, okay, I'm down. And then I left with a demo, and that just felt like the best thing I've ever made to that point. And so it was really cool to be able to then like see how effortlessly it was. I mean, I was watching recently because I'm working on the doc.
Yep.
For the Just a Pawn. That was my debut EP that we made together.
Check it out.
And yeah, go check it out. And I was looking back at that footage from that very first session. And you would never guess that was our first session together. Like, really, the first time us hanging out, just the two of us.
Yeah, I was just kicking it.
We looked like we'd been friends for years.
Yep.
And I think that's kind of a testament to our friendship, how it's been since. And so, yeah, that was a really special evening. I'll never forget that. And then leaving with that demo and knowing like we had this momentum was super special. And then from there, we just went to making the whole EP, and we recorded everything in like 2 months.
Yeah.
Less than that, actually, because we started, it was November 16th
like
was that first session.
Before Christmas.
Yeah, and then we finished all the recordings before Christmas.
Yep.
So a very condensed time. We had a session 1 or 2 every week. We were just cranking that thing out, and then we spent like the early part of January just mixing and finalizing everything, and then boom, it was like full steam ahead, putting those out, putting the music videos out, something every week. And then May we did the live versions, full band.
Yep.
June we did the full band show, and throughout that time, once the record came out the record all the way came out in March, but we had all the songs done before then. It was March 1st, once we were done with all the sessions and everything was scheduled and ready to go, that you came over to my place, and we just both had our guitars, and it was like, let's write something. And so then we just started writing, and we had a lot of fun just like playing around ideas, and then we started this whole idea of like, I thought I saw an angel. That was like the first thing I said.
Yeah.
And then you chimed in. It was very conversational. Like, the song is conversational, but that was how it is. We'll get into those songs more later, but it was just a very conversational thing. You went right into the next line. Was she walking flawlessly?
Yeah.
And then we just wrote that whole song in an hour.
Yeah.
It was all done. And so then we went to have, a sesh for that. And then we went to the next 2 songs, which were Real Thing happened when it was supposed to be a mixing session.
Yeah, we were just messing with loops and
for Angel. And then we just were jamming on that for like a long time, and then we wrote this whole song. And then we did I Do, was actually the 3rd song.
Yep.
And then even though Moonlight was the single to drop, it was the last song we made. And so we made that song. That was one that we did remotely. I was traveling, and Sal just sent me this idea. So yeah, tell me like how that idea came about, and then kind of what you remember about that night when you first sent me that acoustic demo that got me very excited.
Yeah, man. That was fun. I don't remember what was happening. I think I was just playing guitar. Which is, I know that sounds like super simple, but like I rarely like these days just like sit down and just play. So it was really fun to do that. And yeah, because when you have all this like stuff in front of you, you just want to like get into your computer and mess with all these like samples and all that good stuff. But getting back to the core of just like playing guitar and writing a song is fun. And just how this chord progression was kind of like 70s vibe, I would say, dun, 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 dun. And immediately just had a couple lines come through. And I thought it was just kind of coy about a guy meeting a girl and just finding an excuse to talk to her, and sort of the basis of how the rest of the song would go, and did a little voice demo and texted it over.
He sent it over, and I was just like, you sent it over almost at midnight.
Yeah.
You were just like,
super late at night.
Because I think the thing that was happening was we were trying to get that 4th song.
Yeah.
Because we felt like, okay, if we get 4, that's good for an EP. And we had the 3, and we felt really good about them. And we were struggling on this 4th one, and we like sent a couple ideas back and forth. I know you sent me a couple demos, and you sent me that one like sample thing that you were working on. And then I sent you like some acoustic or some guitar things.
Guitar stuff, yeah.
And it was all good, but nothing that like made us like sit up and be like, whoa.
Yeah.
You sent me that, and that made me sit up and was like, whoa.
It was like at midnight too.
Yeah, I know. So it was literally like we're both getting ready to go to bed, and I like jumped up and I was like, boom. And then I just built on the voice memo that you sent. And the whole chorus idea really just hit me, and it was like, boom. And then you were like, boom, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yep.
And so then you said that you had a really cool production idea.
Yeah.
Talk about like just what was going through your head that led to this very cool all these layers of production, from the keys to the cool other like synthy stuff going on, and the bounciness of that record. Like how did that all like come to you? Because that was once you sent me that, dude, I was like, whoa, we've got something extra special with this one.
Oh man, I don't know. How did that happen? I had like the rough idea in my brain, and I feel like that's when a song feels good. That's, for me at least, it's like I can sort of hear what the production sounds like already, and it just all felt supernatural, and I was hearing definitely like a 70s kind of groovy vibe, and everything's so rhythmic with that song. So like the main part, the guitar part, is like driving the whole thing. And then the bass, I already knew it was just going to be like on the offbeat bit, and just to like make everything stanky.
So good.
As
so
usual.
Much stank, baby.
Stank. And we needed some fat drums, so spent way too long trying to find the right samples. But when I did, I was like, this is it.
It was perfect, dude. Yeah.
Just the snare was just like a gut punch. And
yeah,
and then the fun part was the piano, the fixins, and
absolutely
seeing how you could make the rhythm feel even better. And yeah, man, like we kept working on it, and
all of that was remote.
Yeah,
because I was up in Seattle, and so then it was like us sending ideas back and forth. He sent me the production demo, and then I was like, boom, let me write more to this. And I started writing kind of the semblance of a second verse, and then on the open section that you left, it allowed me to really write a whole second verse. So I basically, what you had in the first verse, I just took that to make into a chorus, and then that second verse just like absolutely just appeared.
Yeah.
And wrote it in like 0.2 seconds, and then sent it over to you, and you're like, dude, this is awesome.
Yep.
When you're back in town, let's record this. And I think I was back in town for like 2 days, and then I came over here. It was like on a Friday, and we just recorded that demo of us together.
My brethren.
Maybe I'll sneak that in here.
My liege.
And that's the deep cut version that only our truest homies have heard. And so that was really cool, because we cut that, and then we had a rehearsal, I think, the following Monday, and we played that for Rain and Michael Illa.
Yeah, that's right.
And we were just sitting in the car together, and we played that for them, and that was like one of their most excited reactions to anything that we had done, I think. And they were like, this is the best you two sound on a record. This sounds like such a vibe. And they were just very complimentary of the song. And those are two musicians that we very highly respect. And so it's like one of those things where like, if that gets them that excited, I think we're onto something. And the more people that we played it through and kind of just tested it around, they were all like, this should be the single. And so that's what led us to, making it the single. We finalized that before everything else. And then we were pretty much ready to go from there. And now we've got it's out. We shot the cover art with Marco. Yeah. Shout out to Marcos for shooting. He shoots so many of my cover arts, most of them. But then delivering once again. Yeah, and man. Then we did a studio shoot right before I went to Guam.
Super fun. Cobalt Studios.
We got the shout out to Cobalt Studios, and we shot the cover art there. Just a good old tripod and self-timer, baby.
That's all you need. A little gumption.
And
a tripod.
And a tripod and some particular ideas. And the cover art now is ready to go. We'll talk about that more again in the second episode. But for Moonlight, feels super good. The music video is about to come out. By the time you're hearing this, it'll be out. So I'm thinking about putting it out on Friday.
Hey, yeah.
Sound good?
That'd be sick,
Yeah. I was looking back at the edit that I showed you, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to change anything.
This is perfection.
So we were just going to shoot like visualizer stuff, but I just got a new computer because I had to, because my old one died.
Yeah.
Very tragic death. But with the new one, I felt like I just had like unlocked like the Matrix, and I could just like do everything. And so I was playing around with these takes of what we shot in Cobalt. And once I started layering them and like cutting them in different ways, I was like, no, this can be like a full-blown studio music video. And then I showed it to Sal, and I think he was kind of in disbelief.
He was cooked.
Yeah. So anyway, you can check that out at the link below.
Buckle up.
And we're just stoked on everything that's coming up. And anything else you want to add on Moonlight? I feel like I love the song so much. I'm very proud of it. It's such a jam.
Yeah, me too.
I think that kind of covered the origin of how it came to be and other things like that. Anything else you want to touch on for that song?
I hope it brings a smile to your face, as it did us when we were writing it. Yeah.
I think that speaking of the smile on your face,
Yeah.
the second verse I didn't touch into it, but the whole very cheeky fun.
Yep.
Did it hurt when you fell from?
Oh yeah.
You heard that one before. I like cut off those lines because they're absolute cheeseball pickup lines. Of did it hurt when you fell from heaven,
Classic.
which is kind of hilarious because we also have a song called Angel, and so a nice little tie-in to the previous song because this is track 2 on the album.
Yeah.
And then the Are You From Tennessee? Because you're the only 10 I see.
You're a 10, I'll stop the cheese.
That also
That was crazy.
hilarious.
Great, yep.
Please never use that, but
Or do.
or do, and good luck.
Good luck.
But then we say right after that, if I made you laugh just now, once you give me a chance to take you out. And everybody that I've played it for live, like I played it, everybody's laughed.
Good. Yeah. Same.
Male and female. So
Good,
we got a
yeah.
lot of people that we can take out with this song, you know?
Well, let's lock it for you.
Yeah. A lot of people that I can take out.
Yeah. Happily married.
We can take them out as friends.
Yeah,
and
we
celebrate
can.
celebrate our the smiles on our faces. that we
Everyone's
brought.
a 10 that we see,
Yes,
including you. So
including you if you live in Tennessee
in Tennessee, yep.
or if you fell from heaven.
Yep.
But yeah, I felt like in writing that it was definitely goofy, but then in bringing it to you, it was like, okay, this is like a little weird, but let's just see how it goes in the booth.
Yeah.
And then we laid it down in the booth.
Just felt right.
And like having the little trade off in there was just really fun. And and just a cool way to just more lightheartedness to the song.
That's a great way to put it.
And a fun way to in this hypothetical approaching this woman situation that we dreamt up here. It was just a fun way to go about, starting a conversation and just poking some fun at some
I love that part.
cheesy
so much.
pickup lines. Yeah, I do too. I'm glad we have it in there. So yeah, I mean, I feel like that touches a lot of the song that we had. I think the other thing. Oh, that can't talk about the song without talking about this man absolutely destroying the guitar solo at the
What's he
end.
gonna say?
Oh my gosh! I've said this to him before, but I've only seen somebody. I was gonna say the line that I said to you one time, but no, this man just absolutely chefed this guitar solo and was like completely possessed. He was like on another plane of existence as
Really
you were
elevated.
just playing. I was like, what is happening? And that was like he kind of was dinking around one time, like with the solo idea, and you're like, I don't really think that's it, but something like that. And I was like, yeah.
What if I didn't press record? Can you imagine that?
Dude, and then seriously, it was like the second time, really like the first time fully run through, and then that was the version that you're hearing on the record.
It was epic.
And I don't know, bro.
I don't know what
something was
happened
in the
either.
air that day.
There must have been.
You
I
were
must
just
have- Well, thank you, sir.
cooking. Insert the
Can never play it
Gemini
again.
and Sal cooking gif.
Just classic.
Right here.
What are you gonna do?
And so I mean, between all of the cool instrumentation elements through the song, our fun lyrics, and then that solo at the end, my goodness,
It's got the recipe for
it's a recipe for
a great song that
a jam.
you should listen to.
You should Moonlight it out now.
Moonlight Night.
So is the music video. So dude, I feel like that's kind of everything I wanted to talk about in our first episode. We're probably not going to make this like a long series, but we have episode 2 that'll come out to talk about the full project later. So if you enjoyed this episode, we appreciate you. Check out the other stuff that we have on the channel. Definitely go stream the songs and just check out. We're going to share a lot more and try to make it an occasional thing where we put out some songs and some projects for you. So for now, the debut EP is on the way as of posting this, and Moonlight is out. And so we hope you enjoy it. I have been Djemini.
Salvatore Manalo.
And we really appreciate you
Thank
guys.
you.
Thanks so much.
Stay
Talk to you
tuned.
soon.
See you guys later.
Take care.
Didn't think it'd be mine, but when you walked across the room, I knew this moment would come soon. 'Cause maybe I lied, I just never met you.